Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. And on this episode, we're discussing our dream film or TV pairings, reviews of You People and 80 for Brady. James Gunn finally unveils the first chapter of the DC universe known as Gods and Monsters. And we end the show with another fun edition of How Do You Survive? Let's get on with the show. My name is Aaron Peterson. Joining me today are my fellow host, John Davenport.
Hey, buddy. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Troy Heinrichs.
You are here with people.
Amanda Sink could not be here. Work event. I think I mentioned it. We actually recorded 2 episodes back to back, so that's why she couldn't be here. She will be on the next one, I'm sure. But what's everybody up to? How's everything doing? You good? Feeling good?
Good. Yeah.
I'm not bad. How about you, man? What about you? I think you did something special recently, didn't you?
I went and saw my daughter. I did. No, I'm good. I'm getting ready for BIFF, the Beloit International Film Festival. So I'm like really deep into that right now, which is I'm on the film selection committee. And if you have, BeloitFilmFest.org, be sure to come check it out. The film fest starts February 25th, runs for 10 days. Lots of cool movies, independent films. And I'm knee deep into doing a lot of the film selection and the award winners and all that stuff. Not film selection. We've already selected the films, but I have to go through and watch a bunch of them to figure out who should be winning awards.
So
I have a lot.
So being that we're like close, but not in Beloit, Wisconsin, you'll like tell us like which day we should show up just so we can get like the most like best coverage for the one day that we can maybe fit it into the week.
Sure. If you want to come.
Yeah, I definitely want to come for a day or two.
Yeah, definitely come. What I would recommend, we're going to actually have Rocky Horror Picture Show. Have you ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show with an audience?
Of course.
We're doing that.
Of course.
But that'll be a late night. I don't know if you want to do that, but there's a lot. I'll get you some screenings.
Give me the schedule and throw out the highlights.
Americazzi, that's good. There's a lot of good ones.
I got some friends that'll come with if we can make it work.
Okay. I will do that. I'll get you some information. But BeloitFilmFest.org for everybody listening. That's where all the information will be. And the full schedule is out or will be out soon. And that's what I've been doing. That's been a lot of what I've been busy with. Holy crap. It's a lot of movies to watch.
I've been building Legos.
You've been building movie-related Legos.
I have. I built a DeLorean from Back to the Future. And then I bought a lighting and sound kit for it. So it actually does the entire like time travel sequence. The flux capacitor lights up and then it goes blue on the outside, like the lightning bolts around it, and the tires, and then the brake lights light up at the end because it crashes into the barn. It's pretty awesome.
Does it go back in time? Does it hit 88 miles an hour? What does it do?
No, but it does convert into all 3 versions of the DeLorean. The first movie version, the second movie version with the hovercraft conversion, and the Mr. Fusion. And then it has the white walls for the third movie, as well as the crank on the front for the hood for the engine.
That's very cool, man.
It's pretty badass.
Which other ones did you build?
I also built an Atari. I built a Nintendo entertainment system with a TV that actually has Mario on it, which is pretty cool. I built an Optimus Prime. I built a Horizon Zero Dawn tall neck. And in the box is probably the hardest one that I have to build, which will also have a light and sound kit. And it's the Ecto one from Ghostbusters. The new Ecto one, because it has the little trap that drops out and then comes out from behind the car, and it's got the slide out shooter cannon that what's her name was in. She was shooting up the downtown area in the 4th movie.
And where do you place these? I can't imagine the wife is letting these little trinkets hang out all over the house.
I have a shelf, and the shelf goes above the television.
And when you say you have it over your television, is this a television that you have set up for everybody, or is it the television you have in your own private little office area?
Like he forces everybody to look at his toys.
Yeah.
Look at my light up Legos. I did all this work. Look at it. It's beautiful.
When people come over for the TV watch parties, they do watch it in my office on my TV. So yes, they are looking at the Legos while they watch TV.
So he forces them.
You know, it's funny because you have this whole little setup and you get to enjoy it, and your significant other allows you.
She never has to see it. She doesn't have to come in the room if she doesn't want to.
Right. Your significant other doesn't give you any sort of a hard time about this. I was just reminded about this wedding that I might have talked about it on the other episode. The thing that was very cute about the reception of this wedding is everything was kind of D&D themed. So we got these gift bags that had a 20-sided dice in it, and we got a bunch of other things, great stickers for this whole thing. So it was very sweet. And even then, when it came to their vows to one another, it was very geek laden, and it leaned to the D&D side. So I just think it's cute and adorable when these couples get together, like you and your wife, who appreciate each other's quirks and weirdness and show this to one another. I don't know what that's like.
Hang on, does the minister are they like the dungeon master? I mean, are they rolling dice and making them do weird shit?
That's kind of what happened. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. Or they had this game where you had to go up to, if you want, and so instead of like at a normal wedding where you do the clinking of the glasses to get the bride and groom to kiss, they had a game printed out on these scrolls that they gave everyone where you go up to them, you roll the 20-sided dice, and then whatever number comes up, you have to do that action. And then once you do the action, then they would kiss. And so that was a lot of fun too.
Oh my.
You can see the Instagram account now. #roll for kisses.
Oh my. That could go really weird really, really fast if it really wanted to. I mean, I don't want.
Well, it did. There was somebody who they got to go and do a toast in front of everybody, and it got weird really fast. And not sort of like weird where you get those. And then the groom and I ran over and we were making out with these two chicks, and it was just last week. Not weird like that.
Well, no, you got to roll dice to do that. I mean, you got to get the right number and the right roll for that.
Does that mean I get to save my $1 because I can roll the dice for the $1 dance, but I don't have to actually pay the $1? I have to roll a 20 to get the dance with the bride.
Let's make it more economical for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds crazy. What a crazy wedding. I like themed wedding. I went to a Harry Potter themed wedding for my friend Angela, and it was wonderful. I mean, and I don't even like Harry Potter, but it was very cool. And it was actually Harry Potter and Doctor Who themed, so it was like a combination. It was very cool. I'm gonna bring that back. Themed weddings. If you want me to go to a wedding, make it a theme, because that's what makes it interesting.
So if they wave the wand while they're in the TARDIS, does that make it a Bill and Ted wedding?
It's an excellent question. I would have to ask her. I have no idea what you just said.
Maybe it's just an excellent adventure. So,
yeah. All right, let's move to our from the outside in topic. Unexpected dream pairings. And this stems from You People, which is the new Netflix movie that you will hear us review at some point in this episode. But it's got Eddie Murphy pitted against Jonah Hill. Two comedy legends in their own right for different reasons, and I never in a million years expected them to be playing off each other. It's very similar to Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin in Bowfinger. I never expected that to happen. So let's discuss some of our favorite unexpected pairings in film or TV, as well as do we have any dream prospects, things we would love to see. So, Troy, let's you kick it off. So what are some of your favorite unexpected pairings in film or TV? As in two actors who you would not have pictured together, but totally won you over. And I swear to God, if it's just Lost and an Alias, I'm going to edit everything you say.
It started out that way, and then I was like, no, I'm sure this is going to be kind of boring. So I went a different direction.
Okay.
So I have three that came to mind. The first was actually Elijah Wood and Luke Kirby in No Man of God, when they were the Ted Bundy and Bill. Like, I never would have thought Luke Kirby would have played. First of all, I never thought Luke Kirby would have played a serious actor or a serious character like Ted Bundy. And then for the two of these people to do this type of material in the same room, and that's basically the entire movie, is the two of these people in the room together for the whole movie. I really thought the two of them played off each other really, really well. Was pleasantly surprised. From a television perspective, I never thought James Spader would ever act with a newbie, but obviously Red and Liz from the Blacklist. Completely.
You should be ashamed of yourself right now. This is as deep as you thought. You should be
it's the pairing that doesn't really work. It is the pairing that should not have worked, but it did because of the way the story turned out. It was fantastic. But no, the real one is Tim Robbins and Martin Short. teaming up in Nothing to Lose. That movie is so funny and so great. I'd love watching it over and over and over again.
Wow, I hate to break this to you, but it was not Martin Short.
Oh, was it Martin Short? Martin Lawrence.
My God. Dear God. My God.
Sorry.
That is so amazing. It goes nowhere.
Freudian slip. Edit that one out.
You can't call something you wrote down a Freudian slip.
I was looking at two different things when I did this all.
Oh, it's got a Martin in it.
Yeah. Martin Lawrence.
Okay.
Right?
I knew the movie. Yeah, I know who he is. I'm well aware. I'm concerned that maybe you don't, but go ahead.
Oh, Aaron's going to dine out on this for a long time.
That's staying in, buddy. You can exercise that shit off you want.
Screw you.
Nope.
Oh, no, this is staying in the show, goddammit.
That's gold.
Oh, God.
That is gold. Honest
Tim
mistakes
Robbins
happen in
Martin,
podcasts, kids. They do all the
Tim
time.
Robbins and Martin Lawrence in Nothing to Lose. Such a good movie.
Now I want to see that same movie with Martin Short in it. He's just doing dances and singing and having a great time.
Yeah, so two guys doing a heist movie is always fun.
Always fun. Absolutely. John, what about you? You have any favorite unexpected pairings that took you by surprise? I've got bunches, but
I have a classic that I want to bring up first, which is Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor in Hear No Evil, See No Evil. Those two just playing off each other. It's not the first movie they did together, but it is a great movie to watch that they did together. And just watching those two geniuses play off each other, and it sort of feels like they're from it doesn't sort of, they are from completely different neighborhoods and completely different schools of acting and completely different schools of comedy, and the way they work together, it's as if you're watching best friends on screen, and I love it.
That's a good one. That's good. And also, it should be noted, definitely they've got White Streak, they've got they've got Silver Streak. We've got so many different movies throughout there.
Nobody picks on Aaron. They all pick on me, but they don't pick on Aaron. They can't get the damn movie right. I understand how it goes now. Whatever.
I corrected myself immediately.
It's Aaron's white privilege.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
damn. You can't even say anything against it, because then it's, you know what, just more white privilege. That's what that is. No, but they were wonderful in every endeavor they did together. They were just very, very talented guys, and they played off each other very, very well. And I've never been really a huge Gene Wilder or Richard Pryor fan, like either one of them. I've just never been a huge fan of either one of them. But when you put them both together, for whatever reason, I feel like they click more. Kind of like Tim Robbins and Martin Short.
They would click well together if they ever worked together.
Tim Robbins and anyone who's short.
Tim Robbins will be on season 4 of Only Murders in the Building now. Just wait.
Boy, I loved when Tim Robbins and Martin Freeman were together. And the Shawshank Redemption. Sorry. Go ahead, John.
So another one that I want to bring up is Bruce Willis and Danny Aiello, Hudson Hawk. Again, something that I don't know why I don't think it should work, but I think maybe it's the huge age difference between the two characters.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's good.
Or the two actors, but they feel like they've been best friends their entire lives. They feel like they play off each other in such a wonderful way that it just engages the movie even better. And I think that's part of the reason why that the whole breaking in and singing a song thing really just works, is just that those two just light up the screen when they're together. So yeah, that's another good pairing that I think.
I love the concept of the movie is better than the movie. Let's be honest. I love the idea of everything. And it's a little weird. It's a lot of weird, but those two together, and when they're singing the song and timing the heist to the song, it's just, I think it's magical. And unfortunately, too many people hate that movie that shouldn't, because they shoot a dog through a window. And I think that's amazing.
Bunny bubble.
What else you got, John? You got anything else?
That's awesome. I think my last one that I want to bring up offhand is Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell in The Other Guys. Again, a pairing, and I don't know what these two were doing in a movie together. I don't think at this point Wahlberg had done a lot of straight up comedy, but he is able to keep up.
I don't know if Ted was before.
Yeah,
that
just
or after.
Ted.
I don't remember.
Oh, I think Ted was after it.
Okay.
But even then, he keeps up with Will Ferrell pretty well as playing the straight guy to Will Ferrell's crazy guy. But it's weird because they sort of trade off the whole being a straight or crazy person throughout the movie, you know, and it just lands so well that I really appreciate it when they do the Father's Day movie or whatever it's called afterwards too, because the pairing does just work well.
I love other guys when he's like just so obsessed with Will Ferrell's wife, and Will Ferrell's just constantly implying she's homely and ugly and da da da.
Oh yeah,
so funny.
It's like Will Ferrell read your book whenever he talked about his wife in that one.
Yeah, I think so. That's funny. And also, same movie. How about Dwayne Johnson and Samuel L. Jackson? How about that pairing? That was pretty fantastic. With the exception,
I really want to see that movie too.
I do.
You know,
can't get that movie unless they do a prequel though, because splat.
Yeah. You know, the thing that would be so great about that movie is that whereas Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg feel like they're the fish out of the water kind of thing in their movie, it would be the exact opposite, where it's these two guys living in an action movie, but the world's not an action movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. So good. I would love to see that movie. I freaking love that. And I still think their death is one of the funniest things I can remember in the last, 15 years or something. Like, I laughed so hard when they did that jump and just splat on the road. Like, I laughed so hard. I guffawed, if you will. I laughed so hard. All right. Well, here's some of mine that really caught me by surprise. Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis. Because in Thelma and Louise, I knew the casting going in, and you know, I've loved Susan Sarandon forever, since Rocky Horror. I mean, I just think she's a very wonderful actress, and the whole idea, these two are going to play what, like Butch and Sundance. That's what they're going to do here. They're going to do the female version of Butch and Sundance, which is essentially what it ends up being. But it was so well done, and they totally approached it from a female perspective instead of, you know, just making it a dude's movie with women in it. Like, it's a woman's movie. It's their story. And those two really just gelled off each other so well and made an instant classic, I think, and took me completely by surprise with how good it was. And also introduced Brad Pitt without a shirt. So does that count? Should.
100%.
It counts for a lot of people. I don't know if it counts for me in particular, but it counts for a lot of people.
John Travolta and Sam Jackson were from Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
They were, I knew John Travolta, but keep in mind, I grew up with him from Welcome Back. Hey, Mr. Kotter. Welcome Back, Kotter. And Look Who's Talking. So to me, the idea of John Travolta being in this new crime drama was like, okay. And Samuel L. Jackson was really kind of a character actor at that point. And I think Loaded Weapon was before then. So I didn't really.
Yeah, it was.
There was nothing I was impressed by him in. You know, I was just like, okay. I mean, so there's nothing about that excited me. They are probably one of the best duos in film, and of all time. And it's because they also did what, Basic together. I think it was Basic that they did together.
They did do Basic together. They're not together on screen very much in Basic, but they did do Basic together.
Yeah, and they just, in Pulp Fiction, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, the movie's fantastic, and it's a large part of that is because of those two and how they riff off each other. I mean, there's a large portion of the movie where it's just them talking, and it's just back and forth. You know, Royale with cheese, and you know, is a foot massage okay, and just all of these things. And yes, I know Tarantino writes great dialogue, but you need actors that really bounce off each other well for that. And those two, they were perfectly aligned because they seem like great friends throughout the movie. But there is a moment where it does seem like Samuel L. Jackson would shoot him in the face because of how he handled things. Like, and you really believed in those moments. And I think you need really two actors that feed off each other well for that moment to really work. And it did.
Yeah. You know, and the thing that people don't realize is that this is the movie that remade John Travolta for everybody. And this is the movie that made Samuel L. Jackson for everybody. You know, again, he was a bit actor. The thing that you'll be surprised where you see him pop up
here and there, but
yeah, he was in some Spike Lee movies, but also he was in Amos and Andy, which was him and Nicolas Cage, which didn't have the same sort of punch to it that you think it would because Nicolas Cage is there. But he was also in Loaded Weapon that you mentioned. He was the robber in Coming to America.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of great things to his repertoire. He was kind of at that point Hollywood glue, where he showed up in the background of a bunch of different places, but he wasn't the guy. And this is the movie that turned him into the guy.
Yeah, he was that guy, and it made him the guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Then he became the guy.
And so there you go. That's another one. And then a pairing that surprised me, and still to this day surprises me. I knew Jeff Daniels as an actor. Jeff Daniels was a kind of a serious actor. I never saw Jeff Daniels do anything funny whatsoever. And then he shows up with Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels? That's your pairing for this movie? He's going to play a dumb, and he was so good at being an idiot. An absolute idiot. And I never saw that coming. And those two playing off each other as well as they do, I was stunned. To this day, I'm still stunned.
You know, you say you're stunned, and I have to really concur with that. It was something that was another one of those great moments. Like, Jim Carrey had already become a name by this point, but to see the two of them on screen to make this movie, and it just blows your mind what they're able to pull off, and it's incredible. And Jeff Daniels, again, just he didn't try to be another Jim Carrey. He just tried to be his own doofus of a character, and it works.
Yeah, and I've got a couple others, so I'm going to go through them, and I don't care. Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks in Dragnet is one of the most surprising pairings.
Oh, God, yes.
because I never expected that to work. And that's back when Tom Hanks was just funny. Like, he just did funny. He wasn't really doing the dramatic fare that he does now, or curmudgeonly funny. He was just freaking funny. And he's basically a 12-year-old playing against the most stoic character in film and TV history, as Dan Aykroyd's character. And they just play off each other wonderful. And like, Dan Aykroyd does not miss a beat. He is the driest he's ever been in his entire career in that movie. And Tom Hanks is like the puppy.
You can't even wring him out.
No, you can't. And Tom Hanks is like a puppy just bouncing around. He's like a new puppy showing up to an old guy's house. He's just bouncing around him left and right. Ding, 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 ding. And it works. Like, I love that movie. And I was so mad they never made another one, because those two I thought were magic together. Their song, City of Crime, was just a joy. Which
I'm actually glad that they never made a sequel to that movie, because there's just no way they could ever do that again. You got to remember, this was the 80s. In the 80s, if they would have made a sequel, they would have leaned harder on things that were dumb and forgotten about the things that worked, and it just wouldn't have had the same feel. And or they would have, because there'd be a reason why Dan Aykroyd wouldn't come back, or there'd be a reason why Tom Hanks wouldn't come back. So they would replace them with some other no-name doofus that just can't pull off the kind of magic those two did.
I love that movie. And I'm serious. City of Crime. Go find the video. I love that song, and it's Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks rapping. It's wonderful.
Uh-huh. This is how Chet became life.
My last one, which surprised me, was Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal in When Harry Met Sally. I get Meg Ryan. She's, romantic comedy gold. Billy Crystal, not that. So when that came out, and everybody was raving about it, I'm like, I don't want to see Billy Crystal as a romantic whatever. I mean, he's just not that guy. And it's not like when Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks are together, because you can always see Tom Hanks as a romantic hero. Billy Crystal, I don't know why, but I just don't. Probably because he's kind of like a little too smarmy and sarcastic-y, and you just don't picture it.
Kind of nebbish.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And in that movie, he's kind of a dick through a large part of it. And he's a dick. But they play off each other wonderful. And by the end of the movie, all you want is for those two to get together. That's all you want in the world. Well, normal people. I don't know about John, because apparently he's hesitating. He doesn't know, but...
Well, yeah, we just talked about how he's this nebbish, smarmy jerk off, but you're like, they deserve each other. No, they don't.
He grew He grew as a person.
He starts out the thing as a smart ass, basically, and he's just trying to prove a point. And he stays friends with her to prove a point. Well, that they can't be friends.
His point's not way off. Like, I'm just saying, like, there is, I'm sorry, ladies, but that guy you think is just your friend, he's probably thought about it a few times. I'm just sorry.
The girls thought about it too. Don't get me wrong.
I know I have.
I don't put thoughts into other people's heads unless they're dudes. Not my place. All right. Any pairings that seem like they should have been amazing, but just completely blew it for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Gene Hackman and Dan Aykroyd in Loose Cannons.
Oh, God. God, that was bad.
That was so bad.
And I love both of those guys. You're right. That should have been great.
Yeah. It should have been like comedy gold or even stoic gold. One or the other. It just should have been like the two meetings of the minds, and it just did not work at all.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like I've seen that movie, but I can't remember.
It's like they're both cops, but Dan Aykroyd is a loose cannon, hence the title, and he's manic and he's got mental health issues, and they don't treat mental health with much respect, to be perfectly honest. But it was fun. It's supposed to be fun.
It was the 80s,
yeah, 90s, 90s, one of those. But Gene Hackman
was still kicking around, probably closer to the 80s.
Yeah, probably. I think it was late 80s, but I mean, they're both great actors. Like, I'm sorry, I know Dan Aykroyd never gets the credit he deserves, and I'll never understand it for the life of me, because I think he's one of the best comedic legends in film history, and he just does not get credit for it. But, you know, him and Gene Hackman, you thought would be great, because Gene Hackman's one of the best actors in history. But that movie, I mean, that was a paycheck movie for Gene Hackman. He looked like he was waiting for the check to clear the whole movie. Any other ones there, Troy?
I also put on here Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen. Like, you thought this would work, and man, it just, no. Attack of the Clones is so painful to get through. Any scenes where they're together.
There's so little chemistry, it boggles my mind. Like, just so little there's no chemistry. 3 movies. You'd think by the 2 movies.
2 movies.
Yeah, you'd think by the third movie there would be some semblance of chemistry. None. Nothing.
She was like, thank God I had twins, so I only had to have sex with them once.
Shit. I still want to know how they look the same age, when obviously in the first movie they were quite far apart.
Time dilation, space. Naboo was very far away from wherever they had stuck Anakin. So Anakin aged faster than, whatever. And then James Van Der Beek and Katie Holmes, when Dawson's Creek came out, you thought like, oh, here's the bright-eyed, blonde-haired kid, seems fairly normal. Here you got the, kind of angsty, cute-looking teen girl that's got, the broken home situation. And by the end of that first season, you're like, this is exactly why Pacey and Joey got together at the end of the show. Because it just, when they kissed at the end of the first season, you're just kind of like, ick.
Yeah.
Like, it just did not work at all.
It's good. So I've got 3, and 2 of them are probably going to get me in movie jail. But one of them is a movie, probably, I don't even know if you guys have ever seen it. Michael J. Fox and James Woods in The Hard Way. Did you guys ever see that?
Yes.
That's another one of those movies that I think I saw, and I just don't remember anything about it.
Well, it's James Woods as a cop, and Michael J. Fox is an actor trying to learn to be a cop, and it should be great, because James Woods was in his prime, so was Michael J. Fox, and it's clunky all the way. It just never gels.
And not so much them, but the story itself was an issue, I think, in that one.
Sure, but I don't think they ever really landed either. The next one.
Now that you hummed me a few bars of it, I know I saw this. I still don't remember a thing about this.
Well, go find it and rewatch it. This one is kind of, I know everybody loves this movie. I think they suck together in this one. It's my opinion, and I'm sorry, but it's my opinion. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in Step Brothers. I hate that movie. I hate how they play off each other in that movie. It just feels so forced, the entirety of that movie. I do not like it at all.
I agree that it feels forced the entirety of that movie. I am here for it, though. I love it. Everything about that movie. I think that was the first time I ever noticed Catherine Hahn.
Yeah.
And just for that simple gift to human life, and being able to notice Catherine Hahn was enough to me to make that movie elevated to a great level for me in my heart.
I liked the pairing. I just did not like the movie.
Maybe it was the movie, but to me, I just did not. I love them in Talladega Nights. Like in Talladega Nights, I laughed the whole damn movie. I think they're freaking hysterical. But you've got this one,
Like
this one, and the Sherlock Holmes one they did. Those were, I think both those movies were atrocious.
I passed on the Sherlock Holmes one, but the thing about these two characters, so not even the actors, but the characters, I know these guys. They're Hal.
Your friend.
They're my sweet, loving, adorable friend Hal, and he's well into his 40s, still hasn't grown up, still just kind of drifting along and not really sure what to do with himself. So yeah, I know these guys through and through, and I think it's one of the reasons why I love it so much, because I can see so much of him in there. If you're listening to this, Hal, this is not an insult in any way, shape, or form. If you're not Hal and you're listening to it, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, my other one that I know is going to get me in movie jail. It's a movie I do not like it, and I know a lot of people love it, and it's very timely, because it's right around this month that a lot of people will watch it. Groundhog Day. Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell suck together. There's nothing about that relationship that works for me. There's no chemistry there. They're just ugh.
The movie's great, but you're not wrong.
Hey, wait. So I win with the pairing, but you still love the movie?
No, the movie's awesome.
Okay. I don't like that movie.
I love the movie. But yeah, I always wondered, like, how did those two ever get together? Like, they don't even look like they would date.
That's the whole point of the movie, isn't it? The whole point of the movie is to
it's like one person's from Woodstock and one person's from Winnetka. It just doesn't work.
Right, but that's the thing. That's the whole point of the movie, is to show how this guy ends up falling in love with her so much that he essentially decides to change himself to be the kind of person that he would, number one, makes him better entirely, so he's not some selfish prick, but also to be able to be ready for somebody like her, because she's so much more wholesome and so much better of a person. So that's one of the reasons I do love that kind of a story.
Doesn't come across in them. I'm sorry, that movie sucks. Say, it does not come across in that movie. None of that that's what they're trying to get you to believe in, from the romanticist, because it's also around Valentine's Day, but really he's just taking advantage of a situation to get in a girl's pants. Yes, thank you. That's the whole freaking point of the movie. He's a pervert.
But he doesn't even sleep with her that night.
Not immediately.
No, they don't. He doesn't even sleep with her. Like
Which
the night that
there's 47 of these nights. Which night are you referring to? Because eventually he does bang her. He's building
because
to
he does use. Wait a minute. He uses that ability to bang every other woman in that town. I'm pretty sure there's some toothless old lady that he had a good time with. Like all of that happened. Like,
and somehow you got romanticism out of this. He's making him a better guy. After I went through the entire town, after I worked my way through every single lady in the area, after I hit every bowling alley and 7-Eleven I could find, even the donut shops in the morning, I got every woman in town. But thankfully, there's one left.
I just realized that this was the only one I really loved.
This is
come on. There is a very sweet moment to it, because when he finally reaches that point where he gets essentially what he wants, he doesn't take advantage of it for the naughty side.
Oh,
of it.
What
he
a hero!
Takes advantage of it for the heart.
What
a
heart! Fucking hero. Jesus.
All right, I will find a way to defend that movie no matter what. So
Ned Ryerson had more class.
Well, that's because he actually, yeah, you're right. He had all the class.
All right, John. Well, any that seemed to be amazing but completely blew it for you?
Yeah. So the first one on my list is going to be Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis for Jupiter Ascending.
I like that movie, but I don't disagree with you. I don't.
No.
Yeah. You don't like the movie?
No. Because I think I didn't like the movie because of these two. Like Kunis being cast in the first place, I thought was weird, and then to add Tatum, I was kind of like, what?
I find her wildly charming and engaging in anything I've ever seen her in. So this is the first time where I was just kind of like, okay, she just doesn't fit. She just doesn't fit whatever it is they're trying to say that she fits. It's not. There's just something about her that was off. And then Channing and her on screen together, it had some chemistry to it, but it didn't. But not much. It didn't. It just felt weird and off and forced. And I just. And they're both these great, amazing, charming actors, and it should have created this love bomb of charm, but it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, Channing Tatum had more chemistry with his body oil and Magic Mike than he did with Mila Kunis.
True statement.
I think I had more chemistry with his body oil and Magic Ike than
that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
What, like, he looked good, all oiled up.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get that.
And I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. That's all coming together. I think at least I understand where you're going.
Let me draw you a picture now.
I don't need a picture for that one.
All right. So my second pairing is Bruce Willis and Jai Courtney in A Good Day to Die Hard.
Sorry. Yeah, that ruined Die Hard, the whole series for me for years.
It's the last movie of the series. There's just absolutely nothing about that movie and that pairing that saved it. And the thing that's really sad is that I think since this movie, Jai Courtney has done some really good and engaging things. Even his Terminator movie. Even him in his Terminator movie was bad, but him in the Terminator movie was the best I'd seen him. And then he follows that up with even better and better roles. So he was very cardboard in this. He was,
so was Bruce.
Trying to be another.
So was Bruce, to be fair. So was Bruce.
Yeah, I was going to say he's trying to be another Bruce Willis, but the thing he doesn't realize is Bruce Willis is very cardboard in this. He's really just there for the paycheck. And I'm not going to beat up on Bruce Willis much more because we now realize that there's much more behind the scenes of what Bruce was dealing with. But, it just didn't have it.
And it's his kid in the movie, and he's calling it he has to say his name 400 times, like throughout the movie. John. One of them is saying John at all times. And it's just like, enough. Just enough. I couldn't do it. And that movie is so bad. Their chemistry's bad. The movie's bad. Everything about that thing is bad.
Everybody about it doesn't work. And then my final pairing is something that I just think it's a bad pairing in general. So I don't know if there was going to be anything that works for this pairing, but it's Dane DeHaan and Clara, the Delevingne girl. Yeah, that one. And Valerian in The World of Tomorrow. Again, it's Luc Besson. You have these two actors who at the time seemed like they were going to be two great ideas for these actors. You have Luc Besson. I can't tell you how many of his movies that I absolutely enjoyed over the years. And it should have been something that just jumped off a screen and been different, especially the time frame where we're just starting to get into this oversaturation of comic book movies. I can't believe I just said that. I feel a little dirty.
Yeah, it's true. Although Kevin Feige recently just said, people are never going to get tired of superhero movies. I'm like, wrong, Kevin. You're helping.
Yeah, it's, if you make quality ones, he's right. But come on. Anyhow, what I find interesting about this movie is that if you would have taken Dane DeHaan and Delevingne and replaced them with Channing Tatum and Mila, yeah, Channing. If you replace them with Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis, I think this would have been the better movie for those two to be paired up in.
Interesting. Okay.
Isn't it City of a Thousand Planets?
Whatever. World of Tomorrow, Thousand Planets. It doesn't. Because of these two actors, the movie's not good.
No, actually, John, the title does matter. It does. Just like Martin Short, Martin Lawrence. These things matter in the scheme of things. It's different.
That's what I was like. I'm trying to figure out, like, World of Tomorrow. Like, that doesn't make sense. Wait. Like, I swear that's not in the trilogy.
Well, maybe I was just trying to give Troy a break there for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I see.
Anyhow, my point
Valerian
still
in the City of a Thousand Planets. Yeah. 2017.
My point still stands.
Yeah, they're not good.
No, they're not good. Anything else? Or are you good?
So bad, couldn't even remember the name of the movie.
Yeah, see, I actually looked it up too, and I still wrote it down wrong.
Wow. How does that even happen? Oh, well, at least you had the right ethnicity. So let's go to dream pairings. Meaning actors that don't make sense, but you would love to see them play off each other in whatever kind of film or series you can think of. And I'll start, like, for reference. I would love to see, in a typical Sandler-esque kind of movie, Adam Sandler and Harrison Ford. I just feel like with Mr. Curmudgeon and how dry Harrison Ford is, and having to deal with Adam Sandler and his most ridiculous and insane, I think that would be really, really fun to watch. Personally, as a big fan of both actors.
He comes at him with a water gun and shoots him, and he's like, see, I shot first.
God.
In that Adam Sandler kind of way.
I want him to yell at Harrison Ford in his crazy Adam Sandler way. I want him to do full Adam Sandler, just yelling at him, and then Harrison Ford just shaking him off like he means nothing. That's the kind of movie I want to see. Maybe playing his dad or something.
He kind of berates him for a while, and then he just kind of pulls out a gun and shoots him dead, like in Raiders.
Yep.
Oh, you have another one? Go ahead. If you have another
yeah,
one.
I do. I would love to see, and I know that they play best friends in social media all the time, and they're going to be in a Deadpool movie, but Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds in a gay romantic comedy.
That would be awesome.
That would actually fall under something that gets put up on Pornhub, I think, as opposed to in the theater, because I'm not entirely convinced those two aren't a gay romantic couple.
Well, then it shouldn't be an easy sell. Because here's the thing, is like people are always saying, gay actors play gay and straight actors shouldn't play gay. And I think what you don't ever see are really like an actual gay romantic comedy, like they were trying to make Bros into one, and it just wasn't a good one. But with actors who are notoriously straight, but also are well beloved by the gay community. I think that would actually, you want to kind of like break through to a different demographic. I think that's the kind of movie that would do it.
I'd watch it.
Just an idea. What do you got, Troy?
I want to see Kristen Bell and Bill Murray team up. You got kind of the sarcasticness on the young side of Kristen Bell and the sarcasticness on the, aged and seasoned side of Murray, but it'd be a father-daughter tale where they have to like road trip or connect or some kind of thing. And then there's like a tragedy at the end of the movie. I think in this case, I want her to be like sick, and that's how she reconnects with her dad. And then he has to like deal with the fact that she lost her once, and then he's got to lose her again. So you give Murray that like acting chops at the end of the movie kind of thing.
I would watch that. I mean, that would be a great pairing of the two. I don't know if you could get Bill Murray to lock down for a lead role for that long, but
you can't get him locked down for anything. You basically call a number, leave a voicemail, and he shows up or he doesn't.
Yeah. For Kristen Bell, I hope he would. I mean, she's a delight.
Well, I did this assignment wrong. So
I'm shocked.
I'm still trying to.
I'm shocked. It's so difficult to read. What did you do wrong?
Well, I thought it was when you saying what are some dream pairings, like what are the ones that you thought were executed so great that it was dream worthy?
That was the first question. That was the beginning of the topic, and then we moved down.
You know what, man? I was working on trying to get this computer running.
Shut up! Everybody else can figure it out. You know what? We've given Troy grief. Let's give John. John, read the fucking format before we start. Read it.
What are some before we start? That's great.
It is written kind of vaguely. I mean, I could understand how John could get there.
Stop it.
Yeah, I mean,
you be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah,
he would be so happy if you get dragged under the coals for getting Martin Short wrong. And he would just be so happy about it. Don't you dare bail him out.
What are some
This
dream
is like
pairings?
Amanda bragging about being late. It's not something to brag about. It's rude.
I'm not bragging about getting it wrong. I'm just saying, I did this wrong.
Anybody you'd want to see together.
How about Eddie Murphy and Melissa McCarthy?
I feel like that would work.
Nah. I want to go with like Tatum and somebody, but who would be a good?
Who would not pair well with
person to
Channing
match
Tatum?
them? What?
Who would not pair
I have
well?
a feeling
with
John
Channing
just
Tatum?
really likes Channing Tatum. That's
I
what I
feels like it.
I just really want to talk about Channing Tatum. I'm really jealous of that whole thing with Selma Hayek that's coming out soon, and
I am too.
Yeah,
How about Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot in like a sexy spy thriller or a heist movie?
Jason Momoa versus Godzilla.
Shit. He'd take him out for a beer.
This is great.
He'd take him out for a beer and just get hammered.
He would take him out for the beer. That's right. So Godzilla and the what was that movie with
If you think we have time for you to get the topic wrong and then give us 5 minutes for you to try to remember what the hell you're trying to think of, you are drunk on power. Jesus Christ.
Godzilla and the kaiju monster from what was that? Colossal?
How about Spider-Man and James Bond? Why don't we put those two together? Those are two dream actor pairings right there. I'd love that.
Oh.
Well, multiple people played James Bond and multiple people played Spider-Man.
Daniel Radcliffe and Tom Holland in a buddy comedy about getting taller. Huh?
No, this is the mark of a man who hasn't prepared. That's what I'm hearing. It's everything I'm hearing.
Hey, I got everything else right. I got a computer that's working right finally. I got most of the topic done.
Okay, well, how about let's do some listener picks. Let's do that because they can get it right.
I can't wait to do listener picks.
I can't believe how they got the topic right when they were questioned about it. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, but they like talking to you, and I don't.
Andreas says, I would love to see Sigourney Weaver and Emily Blunt as mother and daughter in a Western defending their ranch.
Ooh.
I could buy that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I already bought the tickets.
I would do, who
as long as Emily Blunt doesn't step on a nail with her bare foot. Because I was like, ooh, ah.
Why? I feel like you're just desperately trying to throw in the one reference you could think of off the top of your head.
I did. That's exactly what I did.
Oh my God.
It's ingrained in my brain.
Adam Schreiber says dream pair, Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau in literally anything, which they've already been paired, but I would like to see them kind of more in an equal billing kind of roles.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
You can't see them in anything else now.
Yeah. You know what? Joy's right. They would always be Happy and Tony.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
You'd have to tone down Robert Downey Jr. so much, and I don't think you can do that without losing some of what makes him so great.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to, I don't know, see the next Martin Short movie. Shit, with Will Smith. Sorry. All right. Share your thoughts on this episode or anything else in our Facebook group or on Twitter @ByPopcorn. Our site is thehollywoodoutsider.com. You can rate and subscribe on your preferred podcast app. And please go to Patreon, where you can get John's Last of Us episode by episode exclusive podcast, which is only on patreon.com/thehollywoodoutsider. That's patreon.com/thehollywoodoutsider. And two movies I wanted to mention before we move on. Amanda was going to be here for this, but again, with her work schedule, she couldn't be here. So You People, which is on Netflix, is out right now, and that's got Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy. Jonah Hill is a young man who's about to marry Eddie Murphy's daughter, and they come from very different backgrounds and cultures. And Jonah Hill's Ezra wants to marry Amira, who is Lauren London, Eddie Murphy's daughter. Jonah Hill's parents, Julie Louis-Dreyfus and David Duchovny, and Amira's parents are Eddie Murphy and Nia Long. So it's this conversion of cultures, and it's supposed to be two families playing off each other. You know, guess who's coming to dinner style, that sort of thing. And it's an important concept, and it could be ripe for a lot of humor. Man, is this a disappointing movie. It really is. It's just, and I'm just telling you, as someone who comes from a mixed marriage, right? So I've already done converging of cultures. And granted, it's not Jewish to Muslim. My wife's Hispanic. It's definitely a converging of cultures. And it's a lot to get used to. There's always things when you have a mixed couple where you have to get used to culture shifts and dynamics on both sides. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you could make light of and have fun with. But what they do in You People is they take some of the most talented comedians around, and I would say Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus are three of the most talented comedians, each of their generations kind of thing, and give them lame material. I think Eddie Murphy comes out of here the best. Jonah Hill is really just not fit for this role. I mean, it's not awful to watch. It's semi-enjoyable. Lauren London is just a delight. And Eddie Murphy, it's really hard not to enjoy Eddie Murphy. But I feel like Julia Louis-Dreyfus is giving such forced confrontations, and her issues just make no sense to me. She's a very smart woman who constantly is on the edge of saying the absolute worst things and can't stop herself. And I just don't see that in her, number one. And the character, number two, they don't actually position her to be that ignorant. I mean, I think they try to force it. So the whole movie is just full of forced awkwardness. It's like they're intentionally trying to show a wedge in how ignorant people can be of other cultures without actually approaching it fairly, like approaching it like it would be. Because, yes, of course, there's going to be things where people misstep and they don't understand why this is offensive to another culture and vice versa. And that's the stuff that would be very humorous. And it would be very, I grew up in a black community. I know how that can be. I've been in those scenarios, and trust me, you overstep and you don't realize that, oh, I didn't know that was offensive. I apologize. You know, those kinds of things can be funny, but not when you force them. Not when you force, you know, to have the worst debates between the Holocaust and slavery and things like that. It feels forced. It feels like you're trying too hard. You're trying to be edgy, and it's not so much edgy as just ugh. So it's hard. It's a hard review because I didn't hate the movie, but I honestly didn't like the movie. And when the movie was over, even the wrap up, you know, it's kind of a rom-com, and there's a lot of love to L.A. in here, so you can, you know, enjoy that aspect of it. And it's written by Jonah Hill and Kenya Barris, and directed by Kenya Barris, and who was part of Blackish, and you know that's a beloved show. I get it. I just don't think this is going to be a beloved movie down the road. This is my opinion. So $10 is the full price of admission. I give it 4.5. You know, very awkward, very forced, just not sharp writing in my opinion, and kind of a waste because I was really looking forward to it. If you listen to our movie extravaganza, I was really looking forward to this movie. I thought this is a great pairing. Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy, and you got Julia Louis-Dreyfus just lurking around in here. And David Duchovny is the dad, is sneaky funny. So he could have been great. Nia Long is wonderful in her own right. She's not really a comedian, but she's a captivating presence, and she knows how to deliver a line. You know what I mean? So this could have been a great combination if the writing was just a little sharper. So I give it 4.5. Also, 80 for Brady. Okay. This is tough. So 80 for Brady comes out Friday, February 3rd, and it's about 4 ladies. 3 of them are over 80, and 1 is under 80. So her jersey, of course, says 70 for Brady. But it's about a group of friends who made it their lifelong mission to go to the Super Bowl in 2017 and see NFL superstar Tom Brady win a Super Bowl, or hopefully win a Super Bowl. And of course, that's the famous Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots game. I don't want to tell you what happens, just in case you don't watch football and you don't care about football. It was a real exciting game, and it really made some twists and turns. And the ladies get injected into that drama quite interestingly. It's directed by Kyle Marvin, and it stars legendary actresses Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Sally Field, Rita Moreno. And also has, you know, Harry Hamlin pops up, Sarah Gilbert pops up, Sally Kirkland pops up. Tom Brady, you got Tom Brady in here. He's acting. He's actually pretty decent, honestly. He's solid. And you've got the Gronk is in here, Gronkowski. You got Edelman shows up, which is really cool because he doesn't even play football anymore, and he came back for this. No Belichick. I mean, other than footage from the actual game. I mean, this is one of those movies where it's an assemblage of clunky vignettes strung together to try to justify the whole plot. Now, I say that, but I still enjoyed it. These ladies are going through, you know, one of them possibly is going through a tough time. They just want to go and have this last moment together because they bonded over football, which I think this is cool. I think having a movie about older women that enjoy sports like this and it brings them together. You don't see that in movies. You just never see that in movies because, my God, they just don't do it in movies. Guy Fieri's in this too. I forgot to say that. They don't do that in movies. You know, it's always a bunch of guys and they got to go to the bowl and they got to go to the big game. This is about older women that want to do this, and it really brought them together. And it really shows their whole friendship was forged on football, or at least this bonding exercise. They get into, you know, all the aspects of not jinxing something, you know, by the first time I saw a game where Tom Brady won, they knocked chips over on the table, so they always knock chips over before a game. I feel like that would be very messy after time, but hey, it's your floor. You do what you want. So the writing's very clunky, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think this is sharp. Very much, it's not so like you people, though. I mean, this is writing where the actresses can make it pop a little bit. And you've got 4 extremely talented actresses, 4 across the board. Whether you like them all or not, that's up to you. But they are all very talented actresses, and they can make the scenes come alive. And it's just a road trip comedy that's supposed to be a little bit emotional. And It's supposed to celebrate the love of football we all share. And that happens. And there is one defining moment where Tom Brady gets to speak to the ladies, or the ladies get to speak to Tom Brady, and it's it's kind of a very impassioned moment. And it's ridiculous. Like most of the movie, it's ridiculous. But it still got me. I thought it was actually a really great moment in sports films. So I don't know, man. I'm going to rate it higher than it probably deserves because I smiled through the whole movie. And my opinion is, even if you know the writing's not great and you know the direction is kind of clunky, because it almost feels like TV cobbled together editing at points. You know, there's a dance off and all these random things. You got to eat a chicken wing contest, which comes out of nowhere. Everything comes out of nowhere. How they get into the Super Bowl is absolutely ridiculous. But everything about how this works out is ridiculous. And it's inspired by a true story. I promise you it is not based on a true story. The women that went just had tickets. It wasn't that big a deal. But I enjoyed it. If $10 full price for admission, I give it $6. I don't think this is a great movie. I don't think this is a very good movie. It could easily fall in the same category as You People, except I think the ladies helped this one rise above. So there you go. I would actually rather watch 80 for Brady again than You People. And that just makes me sad, but also smile a lot. And also, Tom Brady, not a bad actor. Is there anything this son of a bitch can't do? Anything. Oh, marriage. Bam! Let's move on. Hey guys, guess what? We had this episode all ready to go, and then bam! James Gunn decided he's finally going to drop his little DC universe on us. So it's just John and I'm getting over a cold, so please forgive me. But John, were you excited when you knew that this plan was coming out between James Gunn and Peter Safran, the new DC film and television universe runners?
Well, do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to lie?
I want you to tell me deep down what you thought. Outside of the whole Henry Cavill fiasco, which they did, at least James Gunn did allude to. He's like, hey, he got dicked over.
He did allude to that. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to put a line of delineation between everything that is the DC universe that he's building and everything that's outside of that. So you're talking the Joker, you're talking Matt Reeves' Batman, you're talking a bunch of the television shows, with the exception of Peacemaker. Those are all outside of the DC universe. Everything inside of the DC universe will be, the Trinity will be back, but it's going to be a kind of the same but different Trinity. As far as the actors may change in some of the cases, but not the characters. And for those who are outside of baseball on that one, the Trinity when it comes to DC is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
And they have said Superman and Batman will both be recast for the DC universe, but they've also said that there's no reason that certain actors and characters can't remain. Meaning Jason Momoa as Aquaman, possibly Ezra Miller as Flash, provided they go through their proper recovery therapy or whatever is required. And no final word on Gal Gadot has been given yet. So Wonder Woman is still in play.
Right. So as far as like they've alluded to the fact that, not even alluded, they basically said that the next Aquaman movie is part of this new universe.
Yes.
The Blue Beetle movie is part of this. The Flash movie is what kicks off this new universe. So they've said all these things, so it means that we're going to continue to see Jason Momoa, who has turned the biggest joke in comic book history, though maybe unfairly, into one of the coolest characters out there. Let's just be honest.
Agreed.
And they've also come right out and said that stop thinking that they're going to turn Jason Momoa into Lobo. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they actually were very, very clear that no one actor will play two different characters.
Right.
That's cleared. I'm glad that they finally, nailed some of this down. And they also gave us some of the projects that they're going to work on. And James Gunn, who's delivered the slate, was very clear that he also said this isn't it for this first chapter, which the chapter they're calling Gods and Monsters, right? This isn't it. There's actually more to come that hasn't been announced yet. My guess is they're probably still working in, can Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman still work in this universe? Some other factors that they're trying to figure out. The Waller series that we're going to talk about in a second is basically the continuation of Peacemaker, because James Gunn said he can't do Peacemaker season 2 right now. There's a lot of things that are kind of fluid.
back to this, calling this first chapter Gods and Monsters. It's something that since the beginning of the DCE universe, or extended universe, when we saw the first Superman and Batman versus Superman, if anyone's been listening to the show a long time, you've heard Aaron and I both refer to those movies as, or those characters as, that's what DC is supposed to be. DC is supposed to be gods versus monsters. Whereas you have Marvel that does this great, more grounded, more not necessarily more relatable, but just much more grounded characters. DC was supposed to be something of a greater grandeur, and it seems like with James Gunn understands that well, or at least he is alluding to the fact that he understands that well, and I'm excited just for that aspect of it. In all honesty, I'm burnt out on the idea of DC at the moment, and I'm just waiting for them to show me something to be excited about, actually excited about. Otherwise, I'm just going to be like, that's cool.
Yeah,
let's
I mean,
go.
can we be honest? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we both love James Gunn. Peter Safran's a very good producer. He did Shazam, which, we both really enjoyed Shazam. Got nothing against either one of these guys. It's just, we've heard this song before. Now we're on the right path. Now we got it figured out. Great. Yeah, I got to see something, man. I got to see, I think maybe they really underestimated what a slap in the face the Cavill thing was, where it seemed like he was back as the face of Superman, and then he's not the face of Superman because we have to go younger. I get it, kind of. I don't get it, kind of. So, they're just going to have to live with that smack. And basically by doing that, it just reminded us of everything we've had a problem with DCs. Like, they're all over the place. They can't be consistent for very long. If he can do that and he can stick to a plan, and it actually is a plan that works, okay, but I need to see something. I need to start seeing to believe.
I need to see something too. I don't, with the story, actually, let's just dive into some of the stuff that they talked about, Aaron.
Yeah, you ready?
And then I will give my thoughts on some of that. So let's go for it.
Let's go. So I'm going to go through, there's various TV and film projects. I'm going to kind of go through them as Gunn and Safran revealed them. Creature Commandos is an animated TV series. Animation will lead into live action and back into animation is what Gunn said. He said it's a way to, and we're pulling from reporting from Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, and different sources, just so you know, so you don't have to think I wrote all this. But James Gunn actually said, it's a way to tell stories that are gigantic and huge without spending $50 million an episode. James Gunn's already written this series. It's done. Creature Commandos is comprised of military superhumans, including a human leader, a werewolf, a vampire, Frankenstein's monster, and a Gorgon. And also, I think Weasel from the Suicide Squad is going to be in this too. These band of misfits, which is, the Gunn's specialty, that's his wheelhouse, were introduced in Weird War Tales number 93 in November 1980. Do you have any affection for this?
I don't have any sort of affection or anything to these characters. I'm interested in seeing what he does because I like animation, and he's clearly going to take this in more of a I don't want to use the word adult and give you the wrong idea, but more of a mature audience type of animation. And I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. DC has always done well with that sort of storytelling. So the concept of we're going to have these same actors play these same characters on TV and movies and cartoons, I think that's actually fantastic to keep the through line going as far as these characters are concerned. So yeah, that's good. I want to see that.
If they can do it. My only concern, and I've had this concern forever, it's nothing. I love James Gunn. I've loved James Gunn for long before he became popular. Long Toxic Avenger era. You know what I'm saying? It's been a while. It's been a minute. I'm a big fan. So if anybody says, we just don't like James Gunn, that's not true. How much do you like him? Because I've seen him do some weird shit.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that true, but like we can like him and still be critical of what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's just
exactly.
Look at what Marvel is. I mean, right now Marvel is doing something where the movies, I haven't talked to a lot of people who have enjoyed a lot of the Marvel movies that have come out in the last few years or last year, or at least let's say this phase. And if you're going to try to tell me that this phase has been 100% wins for Marvel, no, it hasn't. And it's the same thing with James Gunn. He's not infallible. He's great, and he's got a great comedic mind, or not comedic mind, but great creative mind. So I'm excited to see what he comes up with. But I've been burned before.
Yeah, and my only concern, he's going to be writing the new Superman movie, which I'll talk about in a second. I get concerned his writing is kind of the humor tends to lean more juvenile, dick jokes, things like that. And I don't want that in a Superman movie. I don't want that in certain properties. Like, it belongs in Peacemaker, okay, fine. Suicide Squad, okay, fine. But there are some things I just don't think it fits. And I hope he can write to that. If he's going to
go ahead and talk about
let's get into it.
That.
So Waller, that's next. HBO Max live action series is a spinoff of Peacemaker. They're using the same actors. He's considering a continuation of Peacemaker because since he's working on Superman, he can't do Peacemaker season 2. That's Gunn's words. And basically, there's no real details as to what it's going to be, but it's going to have the team from Peacemaker and Waller, and so you can get the vibe of what kind of show it'll probably be.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really great because I think that the world needs a more better understanding of Amanda Waller, and to give us this through her own show where you can see what kind of she's got a history of being, I don't want to say evil in any way, shape, or form, but she does everything it takes to get a job done. And she doesn't care who she has to hurt to get that job done. So I love Viola Davis as his character. So yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll definitely be dark. It'll be, because Amanda Waller is, man, she will throw everybody to the wolves. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Superman Legacy is the title of the Superman feature, and that's where we have to have a younger Superman. It's really the start of the DCU, is what Peter Safran said. It's already been announced that James Gunn was going to write this. There's no director attached, but I think David Zaslav is trying to recruit James Gunn to direct it. It's going to be slated for release July 11th, 2025. So that's really when this DCU is going to kick into gear. It's not an origin story. It focuses on Superman's balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Sounds like every other Superman I've seen. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He's kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned.
So that's the aspect in which I like about where they're taking the story. It sounds, it harkens back to what we saw a lot of and why I love Captain America so much, because, and I hate to use Captain America as the measuring stick, but
no, he had that great, that reverence, that love in country, but also in doing the right thing. So country doesn't trump doing the right thing. I mean, that goes with Superman.
Yeah, that goes with Superman as well. So I mean, both those characters embody that very well. And if he's going to take that in that sort of direction, then I think Superman will be okay. Am I still butthurt over no Cavill? Yes, because I don't understand the thinking of, we're going to do Superman Legacy, but we need a younger Superman. That doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Yeah, and they're going to cast somebody who's like 25 or like 30 years old. Henry Cavill's only 39. He doesn't look like he's 56. I don't see the argument, but if you want to make it, go for it.
Yeah, that's fair too. Comb his hair, do something different. He's young already.
It feels very much still like we want to get as far away from the Snyderverse, and Henry Cavill was still the face of that. That's what it feels like to me. Still.
Yeah, that's a overcorrection, but we'll move on.
All right. Well, the next thing is Lanterns. I'm actually excited about this. They had talked about a Green Lantern series before, but it's getting revamped. HBO Max live action series. Our vision for this, quote unquote, is True Detective. All right. I was kind of looking for Lethal Weapon Space Cops, but whatever.
Yeah, I kind of want the Lethal Weapon and Space Cops, but this goes back to Gods and Monsters, where if it's going to be True Detective, I guess that's more Gods and Monstery than Lethal Weapon is.
This is where I would prefer James Gunn's writing to come into play. I would rather have some banter and some space gaps. But it's terrestrial based. It's got two of our favorite Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. It plays a very big role in the main story that we're telling across our film and television. This is a very important show for us. And Safran specified that this version is different from the one that Greg Berlanti had in the works. The latter's being kind of a space opera. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. I don't think that Berlanti should be over DC anymore. I think the Arrowverse got really exhaustive and wasn't working on all cylinders. So I'm good with this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm good with a different tone, a different direction, and a different way. I mean, I think as far as a different tone is concerned, Titans kind of shows that a different tone was necessary. Because it has a completely different tone than the rest of the Berlanti verse, which I think it was still a Berlanti project, but they were like, let's do Berlanti for Cinemax kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, now it's not. It's different. So that's good. And I look forward to that. Green Lantern, those are some cool characters. Forget what you saw in the Ryan Reynolds movie. The characters themselves are very cool. That's my son's favorite comic, actually. So,
well, good for him.
I'm
moving
sure
on.
He's very excited. What? You know what? Don't say good for him moving on. That's my son. All right. Next up, The Authority. There's great Wildstorm characters that were popular for a long time, and we're incorporating them into the DCU, said Gunn. He loves the property because it's a mix of anti-heroes who take matters into their own hands despite what governments advise. And that's what's being created after... The Authority is created after Stormwatch, a planetary defense force against aliens, after that was destroyed. A former member of the group, Jenny Sparks, created the Authority with her Stormwatch black teammates, Swift and Jack Hawksmoor. The team includes the Engineer, Jordan Thorndike, who's the latest Doctor, Apollo, and Midnighter.
So this is actually really, really interesting because this is kind of all right. So they give you a little bit of comic book history here. Wildstorm was originally Jim Lee's wing of Image Comics, and he started that wing with Wildcats, and then from Wildcats went Stormwatch and a couple other comics that he dealt with. And so to dig into this far into what used to be an Image comic property until he sold his branch of Image to DC and all his characters to DC, then you've got some really cool ways that DC can take it, because that means that you've got characters from Gen 13 and from Wildcats that can show up now because they're being added into the DC universe, and all those characters are pretty impressive. And I like this idea for sure.
Sounds interesting. Is that more like Thunderbolts, Avengers? Like, where do you see it in terms of tone that we were familiar with?
I would say more of an X-Men kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Next up, we've got Paradise Lost, which is going to get you excited. HBO Max live action series. It's basically being heralded as a Game of Thrones-ish. Boy, I'm really getting tired of every series being, mentioned as the Game of Thrones-ish, but whatever. It's going to be a Game of Thrones-ish story about Themyscira. That's the home of the Amazons, the birthplace of Wonder Woman's.
Themyscira?
I don't know. The drama's really about the political intrigue behind the society of all women.
Oh, well, that's something we want to watch. I'm kidding.
Ouch. What's the beautiful truths and the ugly truths behind all that? What's the scheming like behind all the power players in that society? The series will take place before the birth of Diana, so no Wonder Woman.
I'm with you that it's very derivative to sit there and say Game of Thrones-ish. And
I'm tired of that one. It's just like it's an easy label at this point.
Yeah, it really is. That's just something they use to entice people. It's like Game of Thrones, only go shut up, and only not at all.
There's just no dragons. There's no medieval times. It's all women. It's just like Game of Thrones. Yeah, just like it.
Yeah, a whole lot of everywhere. So I think that the idea of going into the background of the Amazonians is very cool, which then will take us into the developing the relationships between the Amazons and the Atlanteans, because there is a strained relationship between those two people. I like where the possibilities in which they can take that. So I'm good with the roots of the story, but it's not something I'm clamoring for. Right. If that makes any sense.
No, I'm with you. I like the idea behind it, especially being so Game of Thronesy. But I would be more excited if Gal Gadot was involved. I'll be perfectly honest.
Are we going to get George R.R. Martin and a 12-year-old to write the story?
I hope so. And I hope there's no ending. I hope they just wing it.
Yeah.
And then Bran somehow, he takes over as king at the end.
Yeah, he takes over. Yeah. All of a sudden they just hand it over to Bran in a wig. Yeah. So it's not even like Bran in a wig and a wheelchair.
It's like he's not even, I don't understand how he's not part. It's all women. You didn't know about the Raven. Lastly, the Brave and the Bold. It's a movie. It'll be Gunn and Safran's version of the DCU Batman outside of what Matt Reeves has already created. So anything outside, I should specify this, anything that's outside of the DC universe will now be under the brand name DC Elseworlds, which means that is an extension of the DC universe, DC Elseworlds, which I guess is a comic branch as well. So Matt Reeves' Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, that will be part of DC Elseworlds. The new Joker sequel will be DC Elseworlds. If it doesn't have that label, then it's part of the DCU. This is the way that I'm understanding it.
Something like that, yeah. It's I'm happy to see that they're drawing a line in the sand on this. But Brave and the Bold, I mean, again, this is another one of those times where I'm going to get a little butthurt about the casting, because I would love to see more Ben Affleck. And if they're going to do Brave and the Bold, Ben Affleck would be the perfect Batman for this because of his age range, and yet he played the role so well in his movies. And I will fight you on it, whoever you are yelling at me right now.
I won't yell at you, but just so you clarify, Brave and the Bold features Batman and his son, Damian Wayne, aka Robin, who's a little son of a bitch, according to Gunn. He's an assassin, a murderer who Batman takes on, who's Batman's actual son that he doesn't know exists for his first 8 to 10 years of his life. It's a strange father and son story about the two of them, and it's based on Grant Morrison's run of the Batman.
Yeah, and that Robin is a very popular Robin with a lot of people, partially because it also invites the Bat family into it. So with the Bat family, you've got Nightwing, you've got Batgirl, Batwoman, you've got Bat Steve. I don't know what his name is. I don't know. There's
Bat Steve.
But there's another Batman that is Lucius Fox's son that's also part of that, and he's more of like a armored Batman kind of thing if they go that far into it. But this does invite the Bat family into the DC universe in a great way. I don't know who they're going to cast. If I had my druthers, and I couldn't absolutely pick Ben Affleck for this role, then I think Jensen Ackles would be an awesome Batman for this, because he's got the chops to wear the cowl, in my opinion, but he also has the ability of playing Bruce Wayne. He can make a really great Bruce Wayne and a really great Batman.
And I think he's still kind of unknown to mass audiences.
Oh, yeah. He's still kind of unknown to mass audiences. And just imagine, all those people who are nuts about Supernatural will show up in droves just to watch this.
All 30,000 of them. That'll bring
Hey. There's at least 32,000.
I'm just saying, it's not as big an audience as one would think. Because he's been in other stuff and it hasn't.
It's 15 years.
Caught on fire. But he was in The Boys season 3, and people seem to like that.
But also 15 years, man.
I know. Had a good run. Batman Part 2, which is what the official title will be for Robert Pattinson's Batman, will arrive on October 3rd, 2025.
Snooze.
Yeah. I just hope people walk a little bit faster in that movie. Just a little bit. And they have floated that Ben Affleck will probably direct one of these. We just don't know what exactly it'll be, one of these movies. There's more. Right. I misspoke. There's actually a couple more. Booster Gold, HBO Max TV series about a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to today. Basically, he's somebody that just is desperate to be loved, the way I understand Booster Gold, and he uses future technology to look cool in the past, right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate to who he is. He's got a sidekick that's a flying robot computer that kind of guides him along the way, but yeah, he is not a good hero in the sense of like he's doing it for all the right reasons. But he tries to be good at least. Okay,
now we've got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, based on Tom King's comic book series from 2022. That's really recent. But in our series, we see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip off of Krypton, and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life, and then came to Earth when she was a young girl. She's much more hardcore. She's not exactly the Supergirl we're used to seeing. Now, that'll also be interesting because they say the Flash kicks off DCU, right? But there is a Supergirl in that Flash, but they haven't said if it's going to be the same actress.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what kind of thing they do to that story. I think if anyone had ever watched that nightmare that was the Supergirl movie from the 80s with Heather, what was her name?
Slater. Helen Slater.
Helen Slater. So that if you watch that nightmare of a movie, it's a similar idea. It's a piece of Krypton that cracked off, and there's this society that grew up on this asteroid that floated around in space, and then she ends up on Earth. Though here's the thing. that I like about this, and that is that you're going to have Superman, who's going to be Big Blue, and he's going to be, this is what's right and wrong about living on this planet, and this is how you behave and whatnot. And then you're going to have Supergirl, who's going to end up ultimately, though she's technically an older person than Kal-El is, she's going to be guided around by her cousin who grew up understanding the differences of right and wrong because of his upbringing. And
so he's going to be mansplaining everything. He's going to be mansplaining Earth.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely be
That's
mansplaining,
good.
as it should be. Don't at me. Don't at me. I don't know why you threw that line in front of me. You knew I was going to jump over
Super
it.
mansplaining.
Super mansplaining. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I like this. I want to see that dynamic. I do want to see that dynamic. I do want to see at least one Kryptonian have a hard time being good. That would be fun.
And then lastly, I think I said lastly already, but I'm doing it again. Swamp Thing is a movie this time that will investigate the dark origins of the creature. It's going to be totally different from Superman and Batman and Robin. The belief here from the duo is that the darker characters will interact with the mainstream DC characters. And if you don't remember, there was a movie back in '82 with Adrienne Barbeau, which had a sequel, I think. And then there was a CW series, right? Like a couple years back.
It started out, I think, on the DC app, and then it went to the CW. But it was one season, and as a lot of people as I understand it, it was very well loved by the few people who watched it. Right. So my only thoughts on this it comes to this. This is them starting to lay the groundwork right away for Justice League Dark.
Yeah, I could see that.
So yeah, because the rest of the characters for Justice League Dark are a little bit more rough around the edges. At least Swamp Thing is something that you can play with enough to be like, he's more of an altruistic character. So,
well, some reassurances from James Gunn and Peter Safran that I have liked a lot are that everything doesn't always look the same. Not everything's going to have the same expression. It's not the Gunn verse, the Safran verse. What it is it's going to be dictated by the artist that they hire. They're adamant that they're going to ensure that screenplays are completed before they go into production. So we won't have those issues where, they're completing screenplays on set, because that usually ends very poorly. Some other asides, anyone cast on the DC TV side as a character will respectively play that character on the film side, should that character translate over. No actor will play two parts, which we talked to. So Momoa is Aquaman and Aquaman only going forward. They're not going to skimp out on production. They're still going to put their money where their mouth is, but they're going to have the scripts together, get the directors together, get the casting together, and go out and be ready to go. So they don't have to do a lot of reshoots and all that. They're going to try and be a lot more organized and have organized chaos as opposed to just crazy chaos.
That sounds good. I hope they can pull that off.
So do you think now that you've seen a little bit of, we've seen a lot of what they plan on doing, do you like, just based on what we've heard, do you like what they're doing?
Just based off what we heard, I'm okay with what they're doing. I'm still very much gun shy when it comes to anything DC Universe related at this point, and I'm afraid to fall in love with any sort of the idea that I don't see laid out in front of me in Memorex, so to speak. I don't want to get all caught up in the what ifs anymore. When it comes to DC, just show me what they got, and if they like it, I'm going to like it. If not, I'm going to let everyone know.
Yeah, man, it's amazing to me how many people either jumped on this as they love it or jumped on it as they hate it. I'm like, I don't think there's enough here to feel one way or the other. I really don't, because man, some of these properties, they don't sound that interesting to me, but they could come out and be fantastic. Guardians of the Galaxy wouldn't have jumped out at me as something I had to see when it came out. It wasn't until I saw the first trailer, I'm like, okay, that's different. That's unique. When I heard about it before then, I'm like, pass. Mm-hmm. Tree and a squirrel? No thanks. Sorry, raccoon.
Rabbit.
or rabbit. Whatever it is. And, it's just a matter of you got to see how it plays out. I'm tired of DC telling me that they're rebooting every couple of years. So get your shit together. I hope this is right. And I hope James Gunn and Peter Safran are the right guys for this. And I hope they stick to what they're planning. But I'm also worried if they have two movies that bomb in a row, this whole thing we're back to reboot phase.
Right. And that's what's going to be the painful part. We're going to have two bad movies, or two movies that bomb. Not necessarily bad movies, but let's say Marvel comes in and I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe some Marvel fans come in and they review bomb the shit out of it. So, like, whatever the case is, not that I think Marvel fans would ever do any sort of thing.
No, never in a million years would they do that.
Never.
Okay, well, we'll stay tuned and we'll see where it goes. But that is the full announcement. That's what's coming. And thanks, John, for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk even more DC.
No problem. I'm going to go yell at people now.
Yeah, I'm going to get on the internet and start telling people how wrong they are.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You're really good at that.
Thanks. Thanks. All right, let's go back to the show because now we're going to play a game called How Do You Survive? And if you've never played before, this is a game where we give you a scenario and you have to tell us, how would you survive this scenario? We've got 2 this week. We haven't played in a while. Here's the first one. And this is in honor of the upcoming Cocaine Bear and Knock at the Cabin. So we're tying them into 2 upcoming movies. Hopefully, Knock at the Cabin will not be as bad as Old, Troy. Fingers crossed. Okay. Number 1 scenario. You guys ready?
Ready.
As I'll ever be.
Yeah. John, did you read the assignment before we start?
Maybe.
Okay. Here's the scenario. So you're bumbling around the woods on a backpacking adventure. You have on you a granola bar, cheap cologne or perfume, a glass jar of peanut butter, and an inflatable blow-up doll for reasons that remain your own. When you encounter a coked-out bear looking for trouble, you can use the trees and vegetation around you as well. How do you survive, John?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I am going to keep the granola bar for myself because I'm going to do what's called running, and I'm going to be doing a lot of it, and I can't really do that well when I start feeling like I have an empty stomach. Now, the peanut butter, the glass jar of peanut butter, I'm going to, as soon as the bear gets kind of close to me, smash it into a tree or the bear's mouth or something like that, and not necessarily even try because I'm trying to hurt the coked out bear, but I'm pretty sure because I use peanut butter to give my dogs pills that the dog, because a bear is really very closely related to just a dog, only bigger, and this one is coked out, and it's just gonna sit there and I'm gonna just keep on running, and whenever he tries to take a swipe at me, the inflatable blow up doll that I've had my way with is going to be essentially used as a shield to avoid the claws, but keep on running, and I've made it.
I think you're dead, but I like your plan.
Okay.
Just so you know, as an avid backpacker, the number 1 rule is don't run from a bear because you can't outrun a bear no matter what you do. But if you threw the peanut butter, it might distract him. It might.
Yeah, it's peanut butter. Who doesn't like? I know bears love peanut butter. I've seen enough Winnie the Pooh.
Very, just an important distinction. Did you blow the doll up before you ran or during the run? Because that might determine how fast you're running.
It's before, because I know that if I was doing it as I was running, I would just pass out from running and trying to blow the damn thing up.
All right. Troy, what do you got?
Almost very similar. I feel like John read my notes, but it was
What? These are your notes? I thought I wrote them.
It's basically the same concept. The bear would be approaching, the blow up doll would already be inflated because why would you have a blow up doll not inflated when you're sitting out in the woods? And what I would do is actually smash the peanut butter on a tree or the ground area with the glass shard still in it. And then to put the rubber doll on another tree. And then I would spray the cologne by the tree so that way the bear would get the scent. And then as it eats the peanut butter, it starts to choke on the glass shards that are in there, and then he gets all enraged. So he smells the cologne, and then he sees the blow-up doll thinking it's a human, and then attacks the blow-up doll, and as he's chewing the blow-up doll, he chokes on the blow-up doll and dies. And then I would be able to slice the bear and eat the bear for food later on.
Jesus, this took a dark turn. I did not see that.
Because you don't run away from a bear. You just sit and watch the mayhem take place.
It's a coked out bear that he's going to start eating. I can't wait to see him get coked out from the residual coked out.
I lost the blow up doll. I got to do something to have fun out there.
Oh my God.
Right.
Jesus.
I can run for miles. I can't taste my own face anymore, but I can run for miles.
Why did my penis stop working?
My nose is all running and my penis won't get big. God damn
Can't
it.
use this blow up now no more. I would open the peanut butter jar and throw it, therefore diverting the bear. Then I would climb up the tree, blow up the doll, throw some perfume on it, have my way with it, then throw the doll into the woods where the bear starts chewing on it. Then I make my escape. I think Troy and I have a similar idea in terms of the idea of the bear going after the doll because of the perfume. I just don't have time to carve the bear up and have dinner, apparently. My idea was escaping. Troy's like, I could figure out a way to eat.
Well, your idea is to continue having, not let this bear really mess with your stride in any way, shape, or form with this blow-up doll. You're like, oh, I'm banging this blow-up doll.
You brought it to the woods. I mean, it's a lot of wasted time. All right, scenario number 2.
Nothing's getting wasted then.
You are taking a nice holiday to a cabin in the woods with all of us, including Amanda. So you can include Amanda. Just us, though, all 4 of us. When a knock arrives at the door, saying if you do not sacrifice one of us, it can include yourself, the world as we know it will cease to exist. You have to choose. How do you survive? John.
So they're going to start saying, okay, to survive and for the rest of the whole world to survive, you're going to have to... And by then I'm already like, hi, Troy! Stab, 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 stab.
I stood up for you
and they're
twice.
going to probably say something
I stood up
like...
for you twice in this episode, you fucker.
Oh, shit.
and they're going to be like, you're going to have to saute a pan. That's so, I mean, that's, why are you killing him? That's just messed up. That's how I foresee this happening. So that's, yeah.
Okay. Troy, your turn.
I would say, John, you'll be thankful to know that revenge is a bad thing. So I will spare you. And I would very easily chuck Amanda out because she's not here most of the time anyway. So the show would still go on.
Oh, man. That's
well,
funny.
I mean, let's be clear, Troy. I mean, it's not that I really
Let's be
want
clear.
to
You literally
sacrifice
said
them.
before they finished talking, I'd stab.
Right.
It's not
They
that
didn't
I,
even-
it's
they
not that
didn't
you
even
open up the
say-
door.
They didn't even say anywhere in the sacrifice, you must stab him repeatedly. They just said you have to sacrifice him. They didn't even have to say you had to do it. You're just willingly saying, I'm going to stab the shit out of him.
Yeah. It's not like you're like, hey, Mr. Grim Reaper, here's my friend. No, you were like, here's my bloody corpse of a friend that I took care of so I could just save you some time.
And they're probably sitting there going, hey, guy, we had to put him on an altar and everything else. You got to pick again. He's already used.
Again. Well, I just want to point out, like, ever since Troy has come on the show, it has made my life a lot easier. And I do love and appreciate Troy
comes
for all
across,
those reasons.
Apparently, he just wants to go back to being the dumping ground or something. To shit on. It's all yours, buddy. I'm out. See ya.
Just a bloody stump laying in the cabin.
I can't wait for Martin Short to join the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, God damn it. That was great.
That's funny.
What would you do, Aaron?
I'd frickin' throw John to the wolves for not doing the format. Bam. Solved.
And Amanda wouldn't be there anyways.
That's true. She wouldn't have showed up, and if she did, she'd be late for the apocalypse. So it's not like
Right.
it's just how it would go.
She's literally going to be late to her own funeral. So
I still can't get over that these people knock at the. I want to see that movie where they just know. Dave Bautista just shows up at the door and says, hey, one of you guys is gonna have to. Oh shit! Why are you stabbing that dude? We did not finish what what we needed exactly.
there's a whole ceremony. There's like you gotta wash him first. I mean,
He
you
breaks
just
the
did
fourth
this
wall.
all
He's like,
wrong.
whoa. Like, I'm paying good money to do this film, and I can't even say my line because you've already stabbed the dude to death.
That's magical. Oh. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Remember, go to patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider. Sign up, Bad Movie Night, and also The Last of Us follow each episode. That's pretty cool, so check that out. And we're done.
Yeah, don't check that out because John's a dick.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But still sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, don't check it out.
Don't
Sign up for
check it out.
Patreon.
Just don't check out my show whatsoever because my show is not worth your time.
So funny, Troy. He just killed
Not
you.
worth mine, that's for sure.
He killed you so quick. Like, so quick.
See, it would have to be Troy because Troy would never see it coming. Aaron would be expecting it at any given moment. Amanda, again, isn't there, so it has to be Troy.
Well, Aaron would definitely want to hear this out. Like, please flesh this out. Exactly what do I need to do? What are the rules? What's the plan? Like to verify that this is a thing. You know, I'm just going on your word that the apocalypse is going to end if I stab somebody.
I can just see Aaron now.
John's logic is not wrong, though. I have to give him credit.
Right.
What, stabbing you?
Yeah, because you'd be prepared and like ninja skill and like block the knife or whatever. I would totally be like, he's not going to kill me. Like, I look out for him. I think he's the nicest guy in the world.
No.
I want to go visit him in Tampa.
That's not what you would say. You'd be going like, oh, ow, oh,
like, wait, what? Huh?
Why am I dying? This is bullshit.
this movie sucks. All right.
I didn't sign up for
That's
this.
going to do it
Best friend.
for this episode. Remember, the next time you head to a theater or stream comfortably on your couch, of course, buy popcorn.
Without John.
Because you can't trust him. Fucking psycho.